Hey team, it feels like for once it's not dusk when I'm recording and sending this to you. It's still late in the day, but I guess we're getting closer towards winter being done, so it's a little bit more daylight. Probably by the end of the video, sun will be setting. Anyway, so the sun is just above the horizon right now, so which is why it's kind of bright when I'm going at certain angles here. But so pardon me, and thank you for everybody that listens to these. There's so far there's only a handful of you, but I appreciate you. I really do. As I'm trying to build this brand a little bit and build my brand, you are important. And what I think about it is those kind of studio sessions when I'm in front of the home computer and recording with you guys. Those are more of my, more planned. They are, I have a directed theme towards those usually, and on these car rants, it's not. It's I usually have an idea and then I'm just ranting about it. So thank you so much for everybody that is tuned in. So what did I want to talk about today is really DevOps. And so there is a ton to DevOps. There are a lot of principles. A ton of people have written books on DevOps. So there's a lot of different kind of perspectives of DevOps. Where I'm coming to it from is after reading The Goal by Eli Goldratt, which is about lean manufacturing and the theory of constraints, I stumbled across the Phoenix Project and read the Phoenix Project, then read it again, and read it again, and read it again. And I think it's probably been 7 or 8 years now. And it changed how I ran the company. It changed how I ran my life. I formed a DevOps organization and put someone in charge of that organization, gave them a charter of things that my expectations and my goals for the DevOps team. And it is, really kind of blossomed and created a life of its own from there. In a lot of ways, it's deviated from its original charter. I meant it to do a lot of things that it never did. And then some core responsibilities have kind of shifted. So that's a little painful, but the concept of DevOps is what I want to bring to you guys today. So if you are a technical person at all, in technical leadership, cyber exec, IT exec, or you are involved on any IT team or cybersecurity team or development team, I encourage you to pick up the Phoenix Project. And then after you read that, there's the Unicorn Project. And, there's also a bunch of stuff. Gene Kim has made a ton of stuff, but there's a ton of other wonderful authors out there that have, contributed to the meaning of DevOps. And, there's kind of DevOps, cookbook, playbook type books out there. But I really want, and you can kind of go down your own road as far as figuring out what to read next, but I want to discuss what DevOps means to me. Now, I haven't been a part of an organization that has been strictly development oriented. So most of my career has been at an MSP or MSSP. And yes, we have a development team that writes some software on the MSSP side. But my DevOps team is really the core of the company. So when I think about what DevOps is, it is the link to bring that development mindset and that operations mindset, tearing down barriers and walls and silos between those organizations and optimizing flow between them. Reducing risk of failure by having frequent failure. And so that's a concept that is really a agile concept and a DevOps concept, that the fail fast. You're not making big mistakes because you're failing all the time. You're fixing mistakes as you go. You are constantly evolving. This is really how I wanted, our company to run. As a result, I constantly say that I ran it like it was an experiment, because it was. The idea is you try something, if it doesn't work, you try something else. Anyway, DevOps was responsible for automating and managing all of our core systems. So that may be centralized services for you guys, it may be an IT ops for you guys, but they were supposed to write a lot of automation, and they did, and a back-end API and a front-end API, and a lot of automation for our core systems that may have not had obvious automation to them. As long as there's an API, they wrote something. And sometimes there wasn't an API and they figured it out anyway. So they built their own API for it. They came up with some amazing projects. But core things, I wanted auto remediation of any kind of problems. And of course, there's only some things you can auto remediate. Some things are going to be a problem anyway. I wanted to automatically deploy STIGs. So be able to basically take a security hardening template and apply it to machines at clients. And so building automation frameworks for that. I wanted them to really enable root cause analysis and improvement of business problems. So basically, by putting them at the core of the business, and I think this was a strategic win for me, which I think I encourage you to do in whatever business you're in, is put DevOps at the core of your business. Why? If you have something you need to get done as an executive, let's say, we need sales to be converted into projects better. We need sales to billing link to be right. We need our billing to be accurate. Our billing's always off. That kind of thing. Any kind of problem like that, give it to DevOps. Make it their priority. And that's key too, is managing their priorities. And, get it to them, and they will tear down whatever it takes in order to optimize that business process. By putting them at the core of the business, they really have the authority and the lateral movement needed to tear down whatever walls and make whatever happen. So what is key when you have a DevOps team doing that? Well, one thing that is key is that you need to really know what the business's priorities are. One of the concepts of lean, from Theory of Constraints from Eli Goldratt, is, if you're improving anywhere other than the bottleneck, it's waste. So if you can have DevOps improve all kinds of stuff that doesn't matter. So focus them on the bottleneck. Find out what your priorities are as a business and get those into DevOps in a prioritized fashion so that they understand what the priorities of the business are. There may be a lot of things that are not priorities now that may become priorities after DevOps checks off a couple of these. For example, if a priority of the business is getting marketing leads generated from the website into the CRM automatically, tag to the right user, tag to the right customer, etc. Or pre-populate as much information as you can in there, whatever you need done. Get it into the CRM for the outside sales to call them on their cold calling, and preferably as soon as possible. So they go to our website, put in a contact thing, it calls them. They get a call pretty soon. And you can do the same thing with let's say doing pixels on ads. Let's say we want that to trigger some cold calling mechanism. Somebody views it, clicks on an ad, next thing you know, they're getting a call. Let's say that level of automation, it's not necessarily hard to do. It's just linking up a couple systems. So, logically, there might be thousands of lines of code involved, but logically, it's two systems you're integrating. Giving that to the DevOps team may cause more leads to pour in. And then suddenly other problems that were on the next on the priority aren't, because, okay, now they had to hire more salespeople. And now they're making more sales, which is great. But now we are not able to ship production fast enough. And so our constraint shifted from being sales to being shipping, or from being marketing to being shipping. And now we have all kinds of stuff, and customers are complaining about order shipping late. So DevOps, optimizes the shipping process, refactors their processes, automates as much as they can as far as the labeling and orchestrating of logistics and all that kind of stuff, so that's happening automatically. So you want DevOps in a position where they can do this and chase the ball, and the company needs to be constantly involved with that constraint management so that they can reprioritize. So if you're using Scrum, that product owner pretty much should be an executive that is involved in prioritizing business objectives and identifying those constraints. And the Scrum Master can be internal to the DevOps team, but I think that input needs to come from the business. Anyway, so DevOps can change a lot of things in the business through automation, through process thinking, through integration, through really thinking about how to improve things. And there's a lot of things that we can, it's called DevOps, but it doesn't have to be development. You can think about it as a Six Sigma team or a Tiger team or whatever, but I think it should be positioned at the core of the organization. And I think that all the core systems should be managed by DevOps also. Because if your core systems are managed by another team, then the other team is going to have friction, and DevOps isn't going to be in control of that. I think DevOps should control all of the core systems and support all of the core systems. Or else they're not going to, the communication of feedback isn't going to be as fast to DevOps that needs to happen if they're not supporting that application. So what I've seen in my experience is DevOps guys, if they come from a development background or have development dreams, they want to be developers, not DevOps guys. So there is a difference between just a developer and DevOps. So, DevOps in the classical sense is more of a development team / IT ops team, blended skill sets, working together. And it's usually a small team. It can be larger, but with specializations and stuff within the team, but you also want to cross-train people. If the danger is that developers, if you just get a group of developers on the DevOps team, all they want to do is code, And then we have operational balls dropped, and I've seen that a lot. A lot of operational balls being dropped when no character of code should have ever been written to fix some of these ops balls. It's just, you have people that prefer to be focusing on development. And also the team being able to come up with their own prioritization, can conflict with the business's priorities a lot. I've seen that as well. So make sure that the business is involved in that product backlog prioritization. Wow, the light is really bright today. Anyway, okay, so there's three concepts in DevOps three ways from the Phoenix Project, which I've echoed a ton, but it's really that the first way is you need to be able to see the flow of work. You need to make it visible, and it needs to be flowing in one direction only. What do I mean by flowing in one direction only? From not done to done. It needs to be flowing through your processes. It needs to be going down your factory line. No work should be coming back. That's going the other direction. So when stuff comes back is, okay, you do something, somebody says, no, do this again, do this again, do this again. This is broken, it's not working, etc. Work should flow through the system in one direction. If they need it to be done again, it needs to go back to the top of the process and go back through. Processes should only be going one direction. They shouldn't have rework shouldn't be pushing back up through the process, and steps shouldn't be pushing back up through the process. You can see process loops sometimes where, person A does something, gives it to person B, gives it back to person A, gives it back to person B, etc. Like, that is a waste. So I think that pardon me, that getting that process flowing in one direction, flowing smoothly and being visible is key. And this is really for any process that DevOps is managing, but really should be any process in the business. It should be visible. A lot of people hide. That's, a lot of, sometimes organizations hide. Your sales team might hide. Your ops team might hide, whatever. Everything should be visible to everybody. Yes, there's confidential stuff, but there should be a level of process visibility that's visible to everybody in the company. They should be able to look at a process dashboard and see that things are happening. As far as the next step, it is creating feedback loops and optimizing feedback loops. So what's a feedback loop? So DevOps or anybody should be reaching out to the customer or other users in the organization or other departments asking for feedback. Really, anyone that the DevOps team interacts with is a customer or could be potentially giving them feedback. It could be the sales team, it could be the marketing team, it could be a shipping team. In those examples, could be the ops team, could be whatever. Could be the support team. They could have external customers as well. But having short feedback loops, that's key here. Creating short, fast feedback loops and then optimizing them. So between sales and DevOps, for instance. Sales asks for something, DevOps implements it. We see that sales numbers drop off. We investigate why in the process. There's constant communication, quick communication between them. This should be human communication as well as automated monitoring metrics and stuff. There should be feedback that's coming back. And if you can automate things based off of those metrics, cool. Like, if metric gets to here, launch this campaign, etc. You can do whatever you need to, but putting those fast feedback loops in place is key. And then next is, continuous improvement, constant innovation, learning from your mistakes, basically becoming a learning organization. And so that's really the third way. So at every step of everything you do, there should be an opportunity to learn. And you should be able to learn through your feedback. You should be able to learn as you're doing. What's the way we should have done this? What's the way, after you implement, how could we have done this better? Not that you're going to go and redo it right now. It's how can we do it better next time? What's the improvement that we need to make? And when you become a learning organization, your opportunities for improvement are every time you do something. So let's say there are 1,000 cold calls in a day. That's 1,000 opportunities to learn, that kind of thing. So developing that culture of learning. And so it harkens to the and-on chord. The Toyota production system, Toyota uses the and-on chord. If there's a problem in production, they pull this cord. Whether it's a missing part, something they notice is wrong, something that a tool that they need isn't there, the assembly came to them upside down, whatever. You pull the and-on cord, and that's your feedback call. And when you pull the and-on cord, the factory line stops. The line you are on stops. It has everyone's attention. It's basically raising your hand to everyone, and the foreman comes over, process engineer comes over, people on the factory line come over, and you improve. You say, okay, this was upside down. How did this get this way? Okay, this got this. It came upside down because Sally flipped the card over on station B, and now that you're on station L, it came upside down. So let's then they powwow together really quickly, figure out how to change and improve the process, document that change, and then start production. So they do this thousands of times a day across their factories and their factory lines. They're constantly innovating and improving. So by the end of the year, the processes that were written at the beginning of the year have evolved through that constant continuous learning. That's what we're looking for with all of your organizations with the DevOps team. So sales makes 1,000 cold calls, tweaks the script, makes things, improves how things should go. That should be documented. The process should be improved. Marketing figures out what works best or what timing works best. Documents the processes, documents the change. So this concept of continuous learning, constant improvement in the DevOps, the third way of the DevOps kind of mindset is all about improving, looking for opportunities to get better. And that's why we're doing this, isn't it? So we are implementing DevOps in order to improve really any part of your company. I've talked about sales and marketing and ops and support, it can be anything. So DevOps is a concept, and there will be friction against it, but I think every organization should have a DevOps team running its core business processes, running its core business systems. And then, maybe built onto that is centralized services and additional support, and that it also is managing stuff. But anything that's a critical business process should be owned by DevOps so they can improve it. At least if it's technology. Now they can improve processes from other teams all day, like a Tiger team. But in order to continually manage that process and make sure it's constantly getting better, you need some mechanism in place if it's not owned by the DevOps team. All right, but anyway, guys, I'm just a big fan of the DevOps mindset. I really think that it's something that can benefit any company, and it's not just isolated to development. It's not just an engineering thing. It's a concept that can be put in place into sales teams, into any you could sell carpet and use DevOps. If you have the right people with business process mindset and automation capabilities. All right, have a good day. Bye.